we've been talking about this idea of drawing from life.
Tracy here sits the author.
This sense of the word draw that is putting marks down on paper, right? But there's this other idea of drawing. Draw is one of these words with multiple uses. And as a storyteller, you're going to be drawing from life also, but you're going to be drawing from life the way a flower draws.
Today after school, there is a baseball game versus Lincoln at SMCC at 3:30. There is softball practice, and there are
How's the flowers drawn?
girls lacrosse games at Kennybunk Middle School and boys lacrosse games at Gorham. Good luck.
Right? So, have you guys ever drawn attention to yourself?
Yes.
Or you ever heard of like drawing water from a well? There's nothing about making pictures and drawing water from a well, but that is it's this other sense of the word draw, which means like to take up in. So the way a flower draws is it pulls water and nutrients up, it draws water and nutrients from the soil, and then creates something. And so for the storyteller, we're going to go back to that quote about going out your front door and into your back door and around the world in between. That's kind of the job. I mean, not necessarily going around the world, but going out your front door with your eyes open and drawing in all the crazy, wonderful, sad, beautiful things in life. It's part of the idea of a storyteller, because what you're doing is you go out out the door. Actually, it's better to do it. Walk out. Hopefully the backpack, sketchbook, out that front door, and travel around, and all that time we'll be drawing in. Right? Having adventures, not necessarily going around the world, but just going out. And then when you come back to the back door, they will have all these experiences to kind of put
Okay, those kids that need to go to class can go ahead and go. You guys say thank you, Mr. Hatke.
Thank you.
Okay. But those of you that can still hang out, are you going to hang out for a little while longer? Yeah. You don't have to stay till 2:15, right? Well, 2:10 because they'll probably have to get their backpack.
That's good, Ruby.
Why is mostly all the people leaving?
Now we're going to open it.
Only I remember that you can just...
Do you understand what I said?
Anyway, so like that flower draws things in, the storyteller is going to then produce something, and hopefully it's like a beautiful story. But what's exciting about this is I think that part of the job of a storyteller is actually having those adventures, like keeping your eyes open when you do. And because like I'm like making these stories, these Zeta the Space Girl stories, right? They've got robots and aliens, and it's about a girl traveling from world to world trying to get home, and you might not think that I'm really drawing from my own life to do this, because I don't know any aliens and I don't have any robot friends. But at the same time, like the Zeta stories, like the ideas in them end up being, end up being pulled from my life. Like the pull between home and friends. She loves her friends. She wants to go home. It's difficult. It becomes more difficult. Or like, who do you trust? Who do you not trust? And what happens when people let you down? And these kinds of things kind of come up in those stories. What's your people's perception of you versus who you think you are yourself, and all these things, and it's pulling from life. So even in these fantasy science fiction stories, they come alive more, I think, when you draw from life. And so anyway, so those are the three things I keep in mind when I'm making stories. And so this last thing I was thinking of doing, we can do some questions and stuff if you have anything. But one thing I wanted to show you really quick before we do that, I was thinking of showing you guys what I'm working on right now. So this is like a book that I'm working on now that's on my desk, waiting for me to keep working on it when I get home.
Wait, is it the Space Girl?
No, it's a story about a little robot.
Oh.
Would you like to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Like Wally?
Looks like a character in the game.
We'll take a quick listen and you guys can watch anything you want. but the story starts. So this is actually both drawing from life experiences and visually drawing from life, because the story is set in a place that's very much like my town. So I went out and took a lot of photographs for this picture, for this story, and also, if you also notice, I'm going to show you the beginning of it, and you can see how important gesture is, because there are very, very few words, especially in the beginning part of this story. So you pay attention to like the body language of the characters and what it tells you about the story. So we start out in this town, and these are open pages. So this is like a 2-page open page book. This is goes over a bump, the back opens up, the boxes shake, they fall out the back.
It's just like what happened in the video.
And it falls off the edge of the bridge, right? Over the bridge, and into the water. And it opens up to the surface. Floats away. And then we join this thing. So we're landing on this side. The window opens up and somebody's peeking out. She wiggles out the window. Splat. She gets up and runs off. There she goes. And she looks and she sees the kids going to school. And they're laughing and happy, and she's on her own. She finds a crack of the fence. She scrambles through into a backyard. She finds a swing. For a minute, she's very happy. But then somebody's watching her from that window. And he's got I love Grandpa Monk, but he's still probably pretty grumpy. So she hightails it out of there. She runs down into the woods. And the woods then is half junkyard, half woods, full of old tires, broken down cars, and she pulls out her tool belt, straps it on, and continues down to the river. And she's mucking about. And this is actually one where I actually took a reference photo of one of my daughters, and just to get that gesture just right. And she looks up and she sees the box. She pulls that out of the ground, out of the water. She turns it over. It's a closer look. And the switch on the top. The switch and starts to unfold. It starts to go. So she takes it out of there. She jumps into the car. She peeks out. And the thing starts spreading arms. Starts to unfold. And it comes along. It takes one kind of shuddery step, but then. And she sees this, and this poor little robot can't quite get up. He's like wiggling, and he just lays there. So she decides to get out and see what's going on here. So she nervously approaches the robot. With her wrench. And nervously, she just like taps the robot. And the robot wiggles, but it can't get out. So she helps him up. He's still a little bit nervous about this guy. Clonk, he just falls forward. He's not able to do anything. She picks him up.
Are you recording?
Here they are together. And she She helps him take the first
On
step.
YouTube, freshly look at his book,
That's it.
at his new book.
One step at a time. And then off they go together. So this is the story that I'm working on now, and it's about this like girl and a robot and this friendship that lasts for a summer. And so yeah, so anyway, in this one I paid a lot of attention to that idea of gesture. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I got for you today. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to talk.
I have a statement.
Hang on. Nope, I don't want to do that. I'm coming up with okay. Yeah.
Great way to sit on the chair.
Do you have like one of those drawing pads that connects to the computer? Yeah, like draw on it?
Yeah, I use that for coloring. I do most of my drawing I do on paper.
Do you know where you can get one of those?
I don't know. I ordered mine years ago online, so I'm not positive.
What's the name of your new book?
Right now, you know what? Right now it's called Little Robot, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be called finally, but that's still a, what I call a working title. I'm not positive. If I think of something better, I'll use it.
It's like a character from a game I played.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really weird first-person shooter, and there's this like robot. It's not really a robot, but it looks like a robot, and it's called Juiceball, and it looks a lot like that.
Subway
Well,
Surfers?
this one I started out with these little comic strips, and he started having these weird little adventures, and then he started to become more of a character. Yeah.
You publish this book, you need to make merchandising.
Thank you for that tip.
Mostly the robots.
When you like have like a character that you want to have in your story, and you know what they look like and what they like, what their name is, how do you make like their story unique and different from other characters?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yes,
that's a very good question. Well, I think a lot of times, wow, you're pouring from all over the place, but something that helps me is doing shorter stories with a character and kind of learning who that character is by doing little scenes with the character. Like with the Vita character, I did a lot of webcomics with her. They were like little 3-page stories, and I never quite said what she was doing out in other, like hopping from world to world. I just kind of explored ideas. So that's very helpful.
What I was doing,
I thought
like,
that was a raising hand.
Sarah wants to know
What's that?
Sarah wants to know how to shade. Are you like shading?
Oh,
shadows?
yeah. Different ways. You're looking at light, and you're looking at where shadows fall on things. And, really mechanical, you can just, are you doing a little light wash of watercolor, or are you doing like cross-hatching or whatever? But really you're looking at, like a way to think about it is like, a really simple way to think about shading stuff. Because all it really is adding like 3-dimensionality, right? So if you have a circle, just draw like a light bulb somewhere. So here's your light. So your light's all coming from this way, and then you think of where that light would be and where it wouldn't be. And you bring everything out away from the light. So anyway, that's the short version of training, yes.
Can I have any of your drawings?
The drawings belong to the librarian. It's school now, so that's not even up to me. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Where did that robot come from?
The robot came from almost nowhere. The robot, I did a comic strip one day when I wasn't thinking very hard about it. I did a 5-panel comic strip and I drew this little robot. And he looked kind of like that. He's kind of been changing little by little as I draw him. But he walks along and something falls off him, and it's like a little bolt. And he turns to reach for it, and then it just falls apart. Because it was like the one thing that was holding him together.
You should like.
And it was like how I felt that day. Like if one thing fell off, everything would just fall apart.
You should make it so he like came from like a secret government thing.
Oh, well, this story tells about that, yeah.
That too.
But the original Little Robot, oh, I see, you were asking where he comes from
and
in
also
the
that
story.
too. That too.
Oh, okay, so
Like,
yeah, in my
like,
mind,
how did he like think of like come out of nowhere? Like how did he
Right.
like get these characters too? I was thinking that, and also I was
Yeah.
thinking like where did he like this robot come in like from? Like why was he in that truck?
right, and a
Like,
lot
is
of
there,
that
like,
is
a
daydreaming. That's it, like, so a lot of the, like the best parts of work, for me is what look like this.
You should make it so like they're trying to look for the robot, but they can't find him. It's like, oh, he's not in the truck. Where is he? Where
I wish
is
I
he
could show
now?
you this whole story right now, but
Wait,
yes.
like in later books, if you do make later books of this character,
Just take a picture.
You guys are so into this little robot. This is great.
wait, if you need more ideas, you know what I
Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah.
You should make this like little robot like a failed government project. So they
Mhm.
just tossed it to the side, and then it ended up in a box.
Well, I mean,
And
the
it's bird.
the
Wait,
story's
what?
already written. I'm just right at this point. I'm just drawing it.
I know, but like make it like a prequel sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and I've got big plans for the little robot.
And like it was a failed government attempt to make robots that so they could like fight in the wars and stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of like
They made him
RoboCop
too.
or
Yes, but
whatever.
except they made him too friendly. Like this
Yeah.
robot can't fight in a war. He's too friendly. Anybody else?
It shows your mind.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Did you get the little girl character from Lilo and Stitch? Because the first few pages that I saw reminded me of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
no,
it was
not so
like,
much.
like
I
that.
just she was another one where I just drew her over and over again, and she started changing. And the other day I was looking back at the version of it that I sent to the publisher, just thing, and I was like, the little girl looks very different. She's gotten rounder as I've drawn her. Yeah.
It's like when you showed the part of the story, I'm just like, cause it did like instantly remind me of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh really?
The Disney
Yeah.
movie.
I think it's that roundness that keeps creeping in. Her nose
And
is
then
always-
the story was kind of like, cause the story is that Lilo's like lonely and alone, and then Stitch comes from this planet and he's a dog and they become friends.
Okay.
So it kind of was like, this is kind of.
But there's a lot of aliens too, right?
Yeah, there's
And
like
then he's
aliens
sorta-
in the government
and the love of this
what he
girl
wants to
makes
get
him
to the ball.
friendly.
Oh, okay.
It's sort of like Iron Giant.
Iron Giant.
That's such a good movie.
Yes.
I just wanted to make a statement. I'm a cartoonist. I've actually done this character. She's new, but she's a newer character I've drawn, but
Oh yeah. Cool.
I've been drawing her a lot.
Yeah, sometimes like you draw it like 100 times before you realize like this is, and they change. Like, have you guys ever looked at like so I used to like the comic Garfield a lot.
Oh,
and I used to,
Yeah,
yeah, I used to
that's
collect
where I
these
heard
Garfield
that
books.
things from life.
Yeah.
Thing was with an interview
hate
with like Jim
Mondays.
Henson.
Okay.
I think it's
Well, one thing about Garfield is if you look at like the very early ones, like Garfield looks totally different.
No, I have
And that's
There's
the,
a
that's
book
the thing.
in
Well,
here.
that's the thing about drawing your character over and over again.
and like
Did you know that originally his first idea of Garfield was a toaster?
No, I did not.
like
Garfield was
John
originally
looks
a toaster.
different. Like
Yeah.
even John shaped
Toaster and milk with pasta totally makes sense.
Garfield looked really wrinkly and old and then fat.
Then there's a story of Odie's on there.
And when I saw it, I was like, wait, he's actually fat. I'm just like,
the more he regenerates, the younger he gets.
Actually, you guys
Yeah, it's weird how that
wanna say
works.
something about characters?
Sure.
Okay, so
head turning.
so there's this character in Zeta and his mouth.
Oh.
He looks like that. And this character kind of developed over time. So I'll show you some of the early mouths. Oh, I know. Okay, so Mouse did a lot of like sketching and developing and changed. Just the idea of the character changed. And this is like another weird little drawing from life bit because my own little girls brought home in a bucket a mouse one day. And I was like, we have to get rid of this mouse, but I'm going to draw it from life first. And I don't know if this is like the exact picture, but I started drawing very mouse-like mice. And then like the chewed up ear and the long tail of limbs. And that's when this character, when I started anchoring it in real mouse-likeness, it became more of like the character that we eventually see in the books. So yeah, that's the idea of how characters develop. And like every piece of artwork develops kind of like this for me. This is the big complicated cover for Zeta 2. But you know, it started out like something like this, right? You start with a bunch of scrap paper and a ballpoint pen and just kind of throw ideas down. And sometimes lots of them. These are all blow-ups of like probably like 1 inch or 2 inch high drawings. Just keep playing with composition as you go. And then when I got to this one, it started to look like a little bit closer to what I wanted, so I started putting more color figures in there. And then I did a full mock-up. And then if you look at this, I thought everything was in about at the right place. This is like the open book. So I went to pencils. Ooh, that's kind of washed out. But if you look, you can see the main thing that changes from this to this is the expression. You see that? Now she's looking a little more closely right at us and confidently.
Yeah,
so then I put in the colors, and then get a little back and forth with the publisher. They wanted to do their pop a little bit more. So see, I actually ended up pushing her out forward a little. See that?
The Zeta over there was crazy.
Yeah, there's a robot Zeta in the background.
Wait, what? Oh, geez.
So anyway, yeah, that's how that kind of goes. And then, another thing I do is just make sure I'm keeping a sketchbook all the time. Sketchbook's where you put all your weird ideas.
I know.
Oh, I know.
More jaw.
This is some stuff from Zeta 3.
Why is she wearing a hood?
So she's on the run for a while.
It's like Assassin's Creed.
I got a hat.
This is so cool. Oh no.
I like the one that said, I have a hat.
Yeah.
I like that one. I have a hat.
This is a conceptual from Piper, character Piper. And he changed quite a bit.
Is he the bad guy or the good guy?
A little both. Okay, so here's a picture so there's a stage in the making of these things where you make thumbnail pages, and some people make very neat and tidy thumbnail pages. These are small versions of the pages just so you can get everything in its right place. But I'm starting to like the fact that my thumbnail pages look like crazy person drawings. And so these pages end up looking like this when I'm done.
Wow, that's a change.
Yeah, big change. Big change. But actually, if you look at this part here, if you look at, let's see, she's in a giant boot stomping this robot, right? And if you look at that, let's go back to the thumbnail. There's that picture. You see it? There she is. There's the boot coming down and stomping that robot, and then it ends up looking like that. So that's kind of the process there. And there you go, guys.
Awesome.
Oh, you're doing all those awesome pictures. For some reason in the back of my head, I just had this music in the background.
Oh, good, yeah.
Oh, it's like this Pokemon, when I started my Pokemon game, it just goes.
I think my favorite one was the one that said.
Okay, I have a question. So when you are drawing a book and you want to get it published, you know how authors that do graphic novels, they have to send their manuscripts to the publisher. Do you have to draw everything and then send it? And then how does it get published? How did you get published?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. I was lucky to be kind of a part of a couple anthologies called Flight, and so a bunch of people were putting in short stories in these, and I was lucky because it's a really good group of artists, and the books, editors love these books, and so I was able to say I don't know if you're taking submissions, but I did these Flight stories, and then they'd be like, oh, well, yeah, please send along, because people liked Flight.
Yeah.
And so I was able to I don't know. So yeah, but I didn't really send a full manuscript. But you do have to have an awful lot figured out.
You do, not just the
But you don't have to have
thumbnails.
everything drawn. Yeah.
You don't?
No, because that's
Because they ask you to change stuff.
some people do though. I mean, some people do. Not that they ask me to change, but just like that.
What are you doing?
You're recording this?
Oh, wow.
No, I am not. I just aimed my camera at you for no reason. I am not a creeper. I do not stay.
Does anybody have any other questions for Ben? what about your aspiring artist here? You guys have any questions? Alex, please be quiet. No? Ruby? Sierra?
Any questions? Questions?
No.
Okay, why don't we give
Do you have a soul?
a round of applause? And thanks to Rick and Lauren for bringing him, driving him here. I know they're so tired. Alright, so you guys have about
It's pointing it off.
minutes, right? Some of you got your stuff already, so if you want to hang out here, you can, but
I'm hanging here for a little bit.
if you didn't get your stuff, what?
If they're hanging out here, maybe they could get out paper and start drawing comics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, that's it.